All right. What's up, everybody? We are back. We are back. I'm making sure everything's live real quick so I can okay. Yeah, we are live again. Okay, great. Um well let me just make sure make this look a little more clean. Okay. All right, we're back. So, welcome back, everybody. Again, this is the Corner Show with me, Higher Thinking, and I was just visited by my good friend Charles, who's a veterinarian. Anybody that missed that interview, obviously you can go ahead and rewind, but I also will be uploading, I'll be re-uploading that in a few days. But in the meantime, yeah, let's go ahead and get to the next a couple videos here. Actually, I got quite a few videos here. So, all right. So let's go ahead and get into this next segment. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Corner Show with me, Higher Thinking, on the Chicago Black Delegation YouTube channel. And today I'm going to be taking a look at a video that I kind of found pretty interesting. It is a content creator named True Outcomes. He seems to be very diligent about holding some of these oppressors accountable. You know what I mean? Holding not necessarily himself, right, or the people that he know accountable, but the oligarchs, the people that are at the top 1%, holding them accountable because they are the ones that's performing the atrocities onto the rest of us. I think people like him is very much so needed because people like him people like him somewhat remind me of Fred Hampton that found common ground amongst himself and other disinvested groups, other impoverished groups. They formed a Rainbow Coalition and just essentially did great things for the city. Did great things for the lower class of Chicago. Since nobody of the higher class seemed to really care at all. Um, and if you don't know much about Fred Hampton, the leader of the Chicago chapter of the Black Panther Party, please find a documentary and pop you some popcorn, so on and et cetera, and get researching. But anyway, going back to this dude again. This is a pretty dope video, and definitely check him out on Instagram. He seems to have a lot. He's definitely seems to have quite the agenda that is again very necessary and very useful for the upwards mobility of America, not just black people, not just whites, but literally everybody. So respect to this young man. Let's check it out. Oh, mute. It's muted.
You want to know one reason why? Because once you're locked up, people think black people commit more crimes, but the truth is black people are convicted of more crimes. You want to know one reason why? Because once you're locked up, you can legally be turned into cheap labor. You don't think America would pass up an opportunity to continue our tradition of slavery and servitude, did you? I was told.
So, yeah, oh boy. Yes, they freed the slaves, and right after that, they implemented vagrancy laws, so that if you are an individual that is not employed by a business owner, yeah, you can get put in jail for that, and jail was free labor. So quite a very interesting trick bag. I think, and I know everybody likes to praise Abraham Lincoln, and they want to say white people, oh boy, freed the slaves with their bloodshed and all that stuff. Like, check this out. If that were to be true, which it isn't, the emancipation was very much so about many other things, and slavery was just, or the freeing of slaves was a byproduct essentially. It was about no, it wasn't. Again, it wasn't about primarily about freeing the slaves. But even if it were to be true that they did that for the purpose of freeing slaves, this prison industrial complex that was created on the spot is essentially the trick bag that made everybody think that that America freed the slaves like indefinitely. And quite frankly, if they didn't have the opportunity to free themselves, or if they didn't have the opportunity to find employment, which really just meant they're gonna become sharecroppers, which essentially they're gonna go right back to the farms or the plantations they were working in, and then stayed there as long as they could until the machinery and like everything else kind of pushed them out to find better opportunities. And we know this as the Great Migration of the African Americans into the North and also the West. So, yeah, he's been in bars already.
In school that the 13th Amendment abolished slavery, but right after it says that, it also says, except for punishment for a crime. And that's the loophole they're still exploiting today.
Yes. So it's pretty much what I just said right there, except for crimes and stuff like that. Again, and like I said, one of the most craziest laws that he set in place is, again, the vagrancy laws.
About 2/3 of the prison population, approximately 800,000 people, work while incarcerated. And while much of it is routine work, like cooking, cleaning, and laundry, there's a subset of that labor, especially in private prisons and programs linked to corporations, that is exploitative, low wage, and it resembles modern-day slavery.
So this is important to me as well, because there's individuals that will say, and you can look it up as well, but they will say that prisons are not profitable. Not necessarily true, especially private prisons. Private-owned prisons are trying to find ways to turn profit, and this is exactly what he's kind of speaking on. So yeah, love to hear it.
Now, this has roots in something called the convict lease program, which targeted black Americans after slavery ended. And today it continues to disproportionately affect them, since they are 37% of the prison population, but only 12% of the American population. So who benefits from this cheap labor? Thousands of American companies profit from this system. States can even use prison labor to save millions on services like firefighting and road work. And the more people locked up, the more money flows, both to corporations and to the states running the prisons, who get funding based on the number of prisoners. Yeah. And let's not forget the private prison companies like CoreCivic and GEO Group, and how they lobby legislators, fund campaigns, and sign contracts guaranteeing high prison occupancy, which puts pressure on judges and prosecutors to lock people up.
So real quick, I love that he mentions they actually name drop some corporations that take advantage of this low wage slavery labor actually. So that makes me very happy. But another thing that he said that I found to be very interesting or very important for everybody to understand is they use their money. They use that same cheap labor, created additional income, and then turned and invested that into political power. And this is something that people need to take very special attention to, and understanding that people, these high class individuals, these high earning individuals, they essentially exploit people for the sole obviously the sole purpose of for financial gain. But with that financial gain comes political leveraging. So again, they purchasing lobbyists. They're flat out funding campaigns of other politicians. Like it gets very, very dirty, and when it comes to these corporations and these capitalists, these oligarchs that are just completely taking full advantage of the system, and the working class and also lower class is just essentially discarded at the wayside. So again, big props to this dude for telling the truth, man, letting it be known and spreading awareness.
Even if it means getting locked up for minor offenses, so these companies keep getting paid. This is the pipeline that feeds the slave labor machine. So you have prisoners working for pennies an hour legally, which benefits thousands of American corporations, private prisons making money on contracts with the states, and the states save big. Now, the system may be broken by design, but we still hold the power if we stand together. And one way to do that is to boycott the companies.
Yes. Oh boy, this is one of my biggest arguments that I try to tell people: boycott these companies that are taking advantage of their position of power. Like seriously, that's the only way that that's the only way we'll be able to fight back against this stronghold that they're trying to impose on the rest of America. It's extremely, extremely, extremely disgusting, in my humblest of opinions. And I would suggest, in the event that it may be something you would think is necessary, no, just find an alternative. Even if you got to pay a little bit extra money, that little bit extra money that you have to pay for whomever is not taking advantage of this prison industrial complex, or maybe even some other abhorrent um, unethical practices. Yeah, just divest your funds away from those individuals, from those companies. And if there is no other alternatives, I mean, what can I say? Try to maybe it's the opportunity for you to create your own, and also spread awareness of those individuals that are of those companies that are harming the American people with their legislative power, right? So, but yeah, it's very important that he had said like boycott these companies, because that's how we turn this ship around. This essentially, it's no less than, I mean. I know some people like to say it's all about merit, and these people are just good at the game and all this stuff. No, they're taking advantage of they're exploiting America, right? And the rest of America is suffering because of that. This is gonna be one of my bigger points I'm gonna be making throughout this channel's history. But I'm gonna start showing people how do I put this? I'm gonna start showing people how the oligarchy, just as Bernie Sanders explains it, is doing too much harm to this nation by way of taking out no less than robbing the America's middle and lower class. So.
Who use prison labor. I recently launched a Discord server where I've included a massive database of many of these companies, including helpful links to current events, history, declassified FBI and CIA documents, campaign finance disclosures, and more. You can find the invite link in my bio. You know.
So yeah, so he has a Discord channel that you can, if you're interested, check out more content out of his, or check out the compiled data that he has collected. I think it's gonna be really useful to have that type of information. But I ain't gonna hold up too much of y'all time. So again, check out this guy. Again, he's called the True Outcomes on Instagram. Give him a follow. Give him a shout out. And we'll catch you on the flip side. It's been hard thinking. Okay, so that is that video, and this is the doozy. Okay. All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Corner Show with me, Hard Thinking, on the Chicago Black Delegation YouTube channel. And on this episode, we will be talking about Charlie Kirk. We're gonna be talking about Charlie Kirk and the pipeline to destruction of HBCUs, and a possible. Let me try that again. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Corner Show with me, Hard Thinking, and today we're gonna be talking about Charlie Kirk. We're going to talk about a little bit about Charlie Kirk. I almost avoided this conversation, right? I think everybody else kind of said what was needed to be said regarding Charlie Kirk's passing. For the most part, the right answer is no, like violence is not the answer. You know what I'm saying? And then that no matter your stance, your take on, or your opinion of what the things, the way that matter, if he had lived his life again, violence is not the answer. But at the same time, you cannot force sympathy out of anybody. You know, you can't force empathy out of anybody. I think the other side needs to understand that as well. You know, so there's a little bit of criticism we can apply to both sides of this discourse. And I don't want the understanding of those individuals that do not align with his views to go unrecognized. You know what I'm saying? I think it's becoming a thing of like severe, severe like danger. You know, it seems as though people are trying to find any reason to find to like find an enemy. Like it's like they're. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's not. It wasn't just Donald Trump making a statement, such a consistent statement upon the passing of Charlie Kirk. It was not all. It wasn't just his Charlie Kirk's wife Erica that's made some very dangerous statements. Uh, it's a bunch of them. Like I'm gonna show you a video. Right, I'm gonna show you a video and just show you exactly what I'm talking about because things are getting like severely out of hand.
White man fight back! White man fight back! White man fight back! White man fight back! White man fight back!
So you see that? White man fight back. That's what they said. That is the first thing. It's like again, it's like the right seems to be they are bloodthirsty to find an enemy, to find somebody, an enemy to point out, and for them to like immediately go to race as like the default is just baffling to me, I don't know. This was posted 2 days ago. So I believe this was before I believe the kid name was Tyler. This is before he was found to be the assailant, the person that did the job. So I'm gonna give him that benefit to say that, but like these guys are immediately going to race. And when a black person were to see something like this, the first thing we're gonna be thinking of is what our ancestors went through, what we know our history better than anybody else in this nation, obviously, and it's something that just won't leave us. It won't leave us like the color of our skin won't leave us. You know what I mean? So when we apply that type of understanding, that type of background into a video like this, when we apply what we understand and watch a video like this, we see things like Tulsa, Oklahoma again. You know what I'm saying? We see the Red Summer of 1919 again, and we see all of these massacres that happen throughout our nation, specifically targeted at us, because there's people that believe that a black person did them wrong, so they feel like they feel it necessary to go to the furthest extreme, So it's like this is very unfortunate, and like and understanding that these people had a very like serious like disdain for Black Americans that they did at the by way of the talking points of people like Nick Fuentes, people like Myron Gaines, people like Brandon Tatum. A lot of these conservatives, they all contributed towards the denigration and the devaluation of Black Americans. And a lot of it is based off of, it's built off of fallacies, right? And some of these fallacies we did see Charlie Kirk perpetuate. It's just, I'm just being honest, okay? Again, violence is not the answer, okay? But at the same time, we can't help but notice, you cannot help but understand that when we see videos like this of these guys saying white men stand up, or fight back, I try to give them a pass. When we see videos like that, it evokes this level of fear that we have to, in my generation, experience. I was under the assumption that this stuff was over, and it's back. You know. With that aside, let's go into the next video that we have courtesy of NBC News. Yeah, split second. So.
Well, right now, historically black colleges and universities across the country are currently under lockdown after a slew of threats that were called in today. Moments ago, Spelman College announcing a shelter in place over the threats, including at Clark Atlanta University, which is near their campus.
Other HBCUs receiving threats today: Hampton University, Virginia State University, Alabama University, Bethune-Cookman University, and Southern University. The schools urging students to remain vigilant, saying these lockdowns will be in place until further notice. NBC News correspondent Stephen Romo is following the latest for us. It seems, Stephen, like we're getting even more camp.
So real quick, I want to just say something real quick. Already, like, targeting HBCUs, sending threats to HBCUs. Again, these people are just so quick to point out an enemy. It's completely abhorrent and disgusting. Completely disgusting and abhorrent. Especially understanding the irony that it was a white individual named Tyler that did it. Okay, this had nothing to do with any black person at all. And to accuse the black community of taking their own Charlie Kirk, I don't know what to think of these people. I just don't. Black Americans, there is things that we can be held accountable for, absolutely. But when we kind of deal with like fallacies such as the 1450, and all of our problems stemming from the single dads and stuff like that. Like, there's more to talk about. There's more to talk about black fatherhood than us not being married to the women that we had children with. You know, which is what the stat which is what he's always referencing when he brings stuff like that up. Like, I like it, but regardless, all that aside, to attack the black community over something that you had no idea. Let me put it this way: to go straight to the black community as if we did something wrong without even knowing whom committed the crime, much less his political affiliation, much less his race. It just shows the level of hatred in these people's hearts. Let's keep going.
Campuses that are closing down just upon hearing what the other campuses are choosing to do.
That's true. And to be honest, it's been hard to keep up because we just keep getting new information from new campuses that are shutting down because of concern or because they've received direct threats from this. You mentioned we had Southern University as well. That's in Baton Rouge. Bethune-Cookman, which is in Daytona Beach. And interesting, Spelman University has that shelter in place order, but it's actually not received any specific threats, they said, but the close proximity to Clark Atlanta University has made them, out of an abundance of caution, decide to issue a shelter in place just because of how close they are. They have said they're also increasing security just in case. We have statements from the other universities you mentioned as well. Virginia State University, Alabama University, Hampton University, and Hampton, Virginia. All of these statements so far seem pretty similar. They're saying they have received a threat directly to campus, and they are either asking people to stay off campus or issuing a lockdown order, a shelter-in-place order, so people stay where they are. There is a lot of concern here. Of course, the Charlie Kirk shooting happened on a college campus. We had the Colorado shooting at a high school yesterday as well. The heightened sense of tension is palpable in these students I've seen online replying to this. There's a very real fear. Having lockdowns on campus and these types of threats is not unheard of. It's pretty common. But all of these happening today, specifically at HBCUs, is causing a lot of concern.
Yeah, on top of it being 9/11 as well. It's really a dark day today. Stephen Romo, we appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Okay, so pretty much more or less what I was stating earlier regarding the attacks, just targeting HBCUs of all people or of all institutions. I don't know. It doesn't make for me. It just doesn't make any sense. But hopefully, this stuff kind of dissipated. This idea dissipated, understanding that the person, the assailant, is actually a white individual, whom people are trying to pass off as a Democrat, as a Democrat supporter, it's like it's one thing. Like, look, the only thing I don't even know how to put this in words. Like, it's so frustrating. Like, just because there was some information that was deconfirmed as far as in reference to him, the lie that was him being a registered Republican. No, he's not. Yes, we know he's not a registered Republican. He is. I believe they say he was a registered independent. But you have to like put into context. Remember still that his entire family was a family of Republicans. He was raised by Republicans. So those people still failed him. His family. I don't mean to put it like that bluntly. I'm sorry, but like there was things that his family could have did to reach out to that boy so that he didn't fall down to this level of insanity. Honestly, it's kind of what it is. And they understood that he was more into politics, right? They understood, but what they didn't understand to do even was to have like a serious conversation with the boy about the things that he was learning. You know, it turned to find out he is actually a groiper. And for anybody that doesn't know what a groiper is, it's simply a follower of Nick Fuentes. There's probably some more context there a little bit, but it's all you really need to know. And if you don't know who Nick Fuentes is, I mean, he's not hard to find. He's just one of those individuals that is a strong nationalist, strong conservative or white nationalist, actually, which means that he believes in a homogenous country, which means, in other words, a white country. He believes that. I remember a conversation between him, Destiny, Alba from Alba and Preach. What's that guy name? He do a lot of prank video. That doesn't matter that much. Gideon, some others as well. He had expressed that he believes that every nation, every country should have like its own ethnic identity, right? Which is complete bollocks. It's complete nonsense in my opinion. With that aside, again, they said he turns to find out he's a groiper, and which makes him a right wing individual. You know, so for them to try to say he's a Democrat, no, that's not true. He's a Republican. So also with them passing off this narrative that he, oh boy, for them to pass off this narrative that he is for some reason a Democrat, and then that there needs to be some sort of retaliation against the Democrats. That's just like it's just another way of like finding a reason to attack black people, because everybody knows that black people are in large strong supporters of the Democratic Party. That's just historically true. But with that aside, even if it's not a, you know, even if it were to be somewhat of a reach, it still doesn't make sense to target the Democrats as if they're some sort of a enemy by and large, as if this man was acting on the behalf of Democrats or the left or whatever however they want to pass it off as. Is complete nonsense. I think the argument is typically, how could he be a Republican or a right wing if he has a trans partner? Like, come on, like this is so weird, man. Like Robert, I think his name is Robert Smith. He's a homosexual Republican. Okay, he's also black. Blair White is a conservative transgendered woman. Okay. Who else? bro. Like there's plenty of like, and then Milo. I can't say his last name, but he also is a right wing, homosexual. And like these things are like these individual LGBT plus Q plus community that is like a strong, yes, it is a strongly left identity, but at the same time, there's so many individuals within that group that are still Republican. They still vote Donald Trump. Hell, you can just go on like freaking what's that Jubilee and then find a few of them. You know what I mean? So for everybody trying to say, oh, how could he be Republican if he's a part of this community? Cut it out. That's just one thing that he just doesn't agree with this party on, but he largely believes that the terrorists is fine, the economy under Trump is fine, Biden is bad, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But on top of all of that, he was exposed to be a groiper, a far right Republican. It's as simple as that. So for the rest of this video, I kind of want to take a look at Tabitha's. Courtesy of Tabitha, some takes of Charlie Kirk, and for the ones that pertain to Black Americans, I want to speak up on those for the just for the sake of length of this video. I don't want to take it too much of y'all times for real. So for whatever that kind of comes up that addresses that is targeting my group, I'm going to speak on that, and hopefully for the other groups that I just don't have like a firm understanding of, maybe y'all can kind of speak up in the comment section in the chat or make your own videos, right, about the things he had said about your community. You're right, you know what I mean? So I think it's really important that we put a strong magnifying glass towards our criticizers. And mind you, I don't want to get it. Please don't get it confused. Please don't get it confused. This platform is very much so in support of accountability for Black Americans. The only way we're going to be able to prosper, the only way we're going to be able to make it to the next level, the only way we're going to be able to break generational curses is that we have to take a look in the mirror and fix things, okay? But at the same time, we cannot let people criticize us with falsified data, okay? So that's all this is about. If we're gonna talk about Black crime statistics and all this and the single motherhood rate, get the numbers right, and then we can have an actual conversation. And we also, and that conversation needs to be met with understanding how systemic oppression, more or less shaped the reality that we have, that we are kind of experiencing today. So let's take a look. Again, shout out to Tabitha.
I'll see y'all later.
It shows they were actually better in the 1940s. It was bad, it was evil, but what happened? Something changed. They committed less crimes.
Maybe they were afraid. I mean, 4,000 Black men, women, and children were killed in violent lynch mobs.
That's your explanation, but
racial terror permeated American culture for hundreds of years.
Black America is worse than it has been
that affected
in the last 80 years.
The generational psyche of an entire group of people?
No, I'm sure it did. I'm not discounting that. I want your thoughts.
Okay, so for that first one, him to say that Black Americans was better under like Jim Crow, because solely because the crime, look, anybody that didn't understand what that girl said, how she responded to that, and how it wasn't like a complete shattering of what he said, is just simply being disingenuous. These people were in fear of their lives. Of course they're not gonna get into any sort of confrontation with each other or individuals outside of the communities. They're too busy trying to survive the right way and not going to jail and not getting sprayed down by water hoses, et cetera, okay? So for Charlie to say that they were better because there was a boot on their necks. There was a boot on Black people's necks. Of course, there was gonna be less violence during that time period, but it's for the absolute wrong reasons. It's not because there was a father in the household like he always seemed to imply. It's because there was a sense of togetherness for survival. And if anybody that believes that putting a boot to somebody's neck is going to be necessary for them to quote unquote act right. Those people are oppressors, and they are proud oppressors. And this is what people need to understand when we are faced with this sort of rhetoric. How could somebody empathize for the how can anybody empathize with this man, right? Sympathize with him, either of these things, when knowing that he says things like this, and he not only does he say them, and I get it. Everybody like to say, oh well, these are just words, these are just opinions. These words and opinions empower people. They embolden people into action. He is speaking to people that vote, right? And if people that vote don't understand the struggles of my people, then my people are gonna be like left behind, right? It's just we already Black Americans are already at only 14% of its population, as research as reported by the Census Bureau, and less than 3% of the wealth share in America. When the economy goes bad and there's no social safety nets because Donald Trump or whatever Republican stripped them away with the executive order, empowering the oligarchy even further, yes, we are going to be gone first. Okay. And I know a lot of y'all is like, oh, well, it's a skill issue. Y'all don't give a fuck. I get it. Y'all don't care. And I get it. But understand, this is why we don't empathize with racist people that don't care about us, people that don't vouch for us, people that speak against us, and people that criticize us using falsified data and skewed and problematic perspectives. Let's keep going.
And I wanted to make sure that, after that conversation, we talk about the positives. And then we also get into some of the other implications of this. We're a truth-seeking show. But I can say declaratively, this guy is not worthy of a national holiday. He is not worthy of godlike status. In fact, I think it's really harmful.
So, and he's going after, I don't know. There's look, I see there's a lot of people that says, hey, don't talk bad about the dead. Well, here you go. He spoke about MLK, the guy that ushered in the systemic change that empowered Black Americans all over the nation. I understand that there's a lot of arguments being made, such as how do I put this? Integration was a bad thing and stuff like that. Like don't listen to those people. Like look, it was like that situation, that time frame was such a problematic era for a large number of us. It was crazy. Like starting with the education. Like, look, it's fine that we had our own schools and stuff like that, but the problem is the government was so racist during that time period. States like redlining, it was so many things that came into play that limited our education, right? And it got to the point where if there was nothing that was going to be done, I don't know what to say. We would have a lot less time for survival here. So integration, implementing integration into in the school and the workforce, et cetera, is just something that many Black people did a benefit from. They were better schools because they were better funded. And if we was not going to get any sort of a reparation for 200 plus years of chattel slavery, of free labor, then like the only way we can go is small incremental changes that could essentially give us together. And we always hear time and time again of how this idea of meritocracy, of merit, and I believe even Charlie Kirk stated that that we should move towards or do what Dr. King stated, and judging everybody by the content of their character. You know what I'm saying? But then he did mention that he does speak about the good things, which I would say, what I would believe that's one of those good things he had mentioned. Still, to denigrate him in this manner, denigrate somebody that was so impactful for so many Black Americans. Again, this is something that we should not be supporting, you know. But anyway, yeah. So this is one of those things that, again, I get it. Don't speak on the dead. It's disrespectful. I get it, but this guy that everybody's vouching for, man, he just spoke on one of the most prominent figures in American history, bro. So.
Kirk. We note in our piece that Kirk describes King as, quote, a bad guy. It's true. And Kirk self-described very, very radical view that the country made a mistake when it passed the Civil Rights Act. Also true. As we note in the piece, Kirk has previously described Kirk as a hero and a civil rights icon. It's true. I used to be wrong. What inspired Kirk to shift his view on MLK? Why does Kirk think that MLK is a bad guy? When Kirk says that MLK says, quote, one good thing he didn't believe, what does he mean by that? Why does Kirk believe passing the Civil Rights Act was a mistake? Now, again, apparently they don't listen to the show because we do that at least once a week, right? Once a week we talk about why the Civil Rights Act was a mistake.
I think it wasn't enough context with that. I ain't going to speak too much on it, but usually he's talking about.
You may think that an adult that can't stop watching the P word looks something like this, but
yeah, usually he's talking about DEI, like it's usually like his window towards his DEI argument. And we'll just wait. If he brings it up, I'll speak on it. But he just completely gets DEI wrong. I want to just post a video of another individual, another content creator that speaks on this whole DEI. That debated him about DEI, and he kind of, he just ran circles around. He ran circles around Charlie. To be honest with you, I think Parker like ran circles around him as well. But let's keep going.
And so it's very simple. So how do you love somebody? You love them so much.
So again, I don't really
to correct their error.
So again, I don't really know. I can't really speak on like the gay community at all. Like I don't know that lifestyle. I can't speak on that. So again, anybody that wants to kind of come in and speak on that, again, say your piece in chat, say your piece in the comment section, or even better, make your own video and defend. Defend your stance. You know what I'm saying? But otherwise, I can't speak on your behalf. I can't speak on the behalf of individuals that that I really don't have any like firm, like strong understanding of. You feel me? So
can't stand the word empathy. Actually, I think empathy is a made-up New Age term that does a lot of damage. Actually, I think
God's perfect law when it comes to sexual matter.
I can't stand the word empathy. Actually, I think empathy is a made-up New Age term that does a lot of damage. But
okay, so empathy is a made-up term that does a lot of damage. How do I put this? It does depend on like the context of which he means. I think I believe in that clip, I know a little bit of the additional context. He was speaking on how Bill Clinton would I guess give empathetic type of reaches to appease to audiences and stuff like that. I think so. That's a context he used to say that to state this disposition, this disposition against empathy. And I don't know. Listen, empathy is one of the most important things that we can share amongst each other as human beings. One thing that a lot of people seem to get wrong about empathy, though, is the action. Afterwards. How do I put this? So speaking towards the context he used, yes, we can agree that some politicians will weaponize empathy, right? But I don't think it was called. I mean, if it was called empathy back then, if somebody would try to, if somebody spun, if Bill Clinton's intentions during that time period was to fake empathize, or better yet, grandstand. That's what a proper terminology is. But if this idea was to grandstand by way of weaponizing empathy to appeal to whatever audience, then yes, I would agree that would be problematic. But like to to make a generalizing statement such as empathy being a destructive thing, that's just not true. Somebody weaponizing empathy for political gain, and somebody applying empathy to a person, to I don't know, anything, to like have a better understanding of like the emotions that they're dealing with, so that you can make a decision like that respects their perspective, that respects their lived experience. So be it. Like let them do that. That only can bring about good things, especially again when it's all about intentionality. When the intentions are pure, then good things will come from that. Now, mind you, this goes to the other point I was making about empathy. You can empathize with somebody, but it does not mean you have to commit to actions that benefit that person. That's not what that means. I can walk along the street. I can walk downtown. I can buy myself some popcorn, some Garrett's popcorn. I can do all of that stuff. And I can see a bum on the street, and if I ain't got it in my pocket, I ain't got nothing for him. I can look at him. I can understand what he's going through, at least to the best of my ability. It's tough. Yes, it's tough for everybody that are less fortunate, But that does not mean that I have to empty my wallet to make sure he's okay. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's levels to this. And that's the problem with this conservative mindset. It's always like a black and white type of situation. No, empathy is not a black and white situation. Most things are not a black and white situation. There's always gray areas to virtually every concept, every idea. So if I see this person on the street, yes, I can empathize with him. Can't do that. Does that mean I have to give him the keys to my house, to give him the keys to my car? Does not mean that, okay? It's all about intentionality. But yes, I will agree with him to say that any politician that will grandstand is a problematic individual. But empathy being some problematic new age term, complete nonsense, because
these people are sick, and I don't say that lightly. The NCAA is.
So I'm gonna just kind of let this one kind of play out and let him go into the next talking point, because again, I don't. These talking about transgenders and stuff like that. I don't know anything about this stuff, man. So again, if you got something to say about this take, by all means, put it in the chat. Whatever. I'm not gonna speak on it, man. So let me see if I can fast forward a bit. So now he's talking about Gaza. That's not my way, my path. Racially bullied. Okay, well let's take a look at this one.
Crime 5 times in one night. Okay, 3 of them by Trump supporters.
What happened to you?
Okay, for one of them, I was just walking, and then I see this truck full of 4 white men pass by me, MAGA apparel, everything, And then...
Did they say this is MAGA country?
Anyways, they drove past me, and they were like, you bend over.
Okay, so they said the N-word on campus to you?
Well, yes.
Oh, yeah? Okay, so what happened to them when you reported them?
I didn't report them.
Oh, really? Okay, so maybe it didn't happen.
Okay, anyways.
I don't believe you. I'm being honest, I don't believe you. Okay. I think you're making it up.
Okay. Anyways.
I refuse to believe that somebody on this campus would go around and sheepishly call you the N-word. I refuse to believe that. I think you're lying.
Okay, well, I mean, I run into this type of situation when debating people all the time. I don't know if it's a logical fallacy or not or anything like that, but just dismissing somebody's argument by calling them a liar, this is one of those things that's just unprovable. Yes, it is a thing that's kind of unprovable, but to just dismiss it as if it just completely didn't happen is weird, okay? But pretty typical, especially when you're kind of dealing with a situation like this. It's contentious, it's debate, it's supposed to be, supposed to be getting clips and stuff like that, so on and so forth. But this is how I deal. I'm gonna give instruction on how to deal with something you would consider that you would believe to be a lie in a good faith manner. Now, yes, you can entertain the idea that it's falsified information. It's falsified anecdotal information. Completely okay. It's fine to do that. However, it should also be met with a perspective of goodwill, what is that called? Honor, applying honor system to it. So I will go about doing it as saying that, first of all, I don't believe what you're saying. You can't do that. At the same time, you can still affirm what they said by stating, if it is true, then I would suggest this, you should do that, so on and so forth. You know what I mean? And do it in a way that is inviting, do it in a way that's respectful of the person that you actually having a conversation with, and not trying to, again, make clips and weird stuff like that. So that's my opinion, bro.
Spiritual battle is coming to the West, and the enemies are wokeism or Marxism combining with Islamism to go after what we call the American way of life. And the American way of life is very simple. I want to be able to get married, buy a home, have kids, allow them to ride their bike till the sun goes down, send them to a good school, have a low-crime neighborhood, not to have my kid be taught the lesbian, gay, transgender garbage in their school, while also not having them have to hear the Muslim call to prayer 5 times a day. That's important. We want the American way of life, which is, by the way, Christendom. Christians, our sacrifice, our toil, our vision, the outgrowth of the scriptures gave us Western civilization. And this is where I think is a great rallying cry. Doesn't matter if you're Hispanic, doesn't matter if...
Okay, so at the head of this clip, he is mentioning, how do I put this? He is mentioning how we would go to a place where we get all of, I mean, it's the American dream. Everybody knows what the American dream is, like the kids, the hot wife, the white picket fence, the doghouse, so et cetera, et cetera. He just believes that the way of going about doing that is rejecting Marxism, of all things, and apparently Muslim beliefs. I don't see how Muslim beliefs have anything to do with the American way of. I don't see how that kind of connects at all. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think he likes to judge Middle Eastern countries a lot. I don't know much about Middle Eastern politics. I don't know much about Middle Eastern economy. I don't think Charlie does either. But what it seems to be is there's a rich class and then there's the poor class. The poor class are in disarray, are in close to famine, you know. And then the rich class, they're buying tigers and purchasing or I'm sorry, not purchasing, but like renting IG models sometimes. That's just hearsay apparently. That aside, like, look, I don't know if people know this or not, but like when America was actually great was like, how do I put this? The only time America was actually great for like non-black people was about like the 30s and the 40s and the 50s, the 30s, the 50s. What era was that? 50s, 60s, and the 70s? Maybe the 50s and the 60s, whatever. Regardless, it was a time period in which they taxed the actual ever-loving piss out of the oligarchy. That's when America was great. You want to know why? It's because that was when if you made over $400,000 in a single year, every red cent that you made after that was taxed at 90%. Right. Now that tax went towards things that, you know, military spending. It went towards an assortment of things, but like, but in how we can implement that today is if we were to be bold enough to apply such a tax, we can start putting those things towards social safety nets. We can put that towards education. we can put that towards things that actually help people, pretty much everything. Republicans all over be praising Bernie Sanders and saying that this is probably something that we should be working towards when they speak to Bernie Sanders, because Bernie Sanders knows how to sell that sort of politics. We can make that happen when we tax the rich. That's just kind of how it is. So for him to kind of blame Marxism on the state of the unionist or whatever, or just stopping us from being able to just relax, bro. Like, the only thing Marxism really means, you're questioning the capitalistic system, capitalistic economic system. So let's keep going on.
It's called Judea and Samaria. It's not called Palestine.
You don't believe that Palestine have the right to exist?
No, everyone has a right to exist. Show me where it is. It's a non-existent place.
That's Palestinians.
This is why, because it's a very, very rare couple.
In any case, you don't think there's any case where abortion.
I want y'all to.
Because it doesn't. It's called.
I want y'all to hear this one. This one is just the most wild take that I've gotten from that I've heard.
Judea and Samaria. It's not called Palestine.
To see you. So I just have one question. There's in any case, you don't think there's any case where abortion should be legal?
There's a very, very rare couple cases.
Okay, so you do think that a couple cases it is legal?
If cesarean section is not going to save the mother's life, and the mother's life is actually at risk, which is debated amongst growing numbers of OBGYNs,
okay,
that is the only case where abortion should be allowed.
Think there
but people say it is a growing consensus in the pro-life world that abortion is never medically necessary.
Okay.
Carl Jung, the great psychoanalyst, he said, modern people don't see God because they don't look low enough. That's worth thinking about.
So if you had a daughter and she was 10 and she got raped, and she was going to give birth and she would, and she was going to give birth and she was going to live, would you want her to go through that and carry her baby?
That's awfully graphic.
But it's a real life scenario that happens to many people.
The answer is yes, the baby would be delivered.
Oh, okay, great. So that's insane.
But let me tell you why.
You're killing little kids.
So, yeah, man. Listen, bro. I want my black people to understand. Listen, man. You gotta respect women better than that. Black people, please respect women's ability to choose, bro. Like me personally, I want to have children. And it's something I would not want to do, commit to that sort of a thing. But I can't tell her not to do it. It's just kind of just is what it is. If I'm, how do I put this? If I'm against somebody forcing me into a vasectomy, that's just not something I'm going to be able to support for real. But again, for me and my own, I'm suggesting not to do it. Just to be real honest with you. But for me to legislatively pull everybody's ability to choose for themselves, I don't know. It's just pretty bogus. Again, for me, I would not want to do it, but it is what it is, I guess.
Well, hold on. Killing kids. You mean they drop leaflets before they bomb in Gaza? They warn civilian corridors before they ever engage that might need, and ridiculous is go and complain about it when it comes.
Yeah, this is not for me.
So what Israel doing isn't bad. Killing children isn't.
The question is macro Islam compatible with Islam separate Muslim and Prophet of religion and state to see a fear
likely to be attacked?
People want to live there from
white individuals.
He peddles in. Well, let's hear it.
Individuals are actually more likely to be attacked, especially even per capita, by black individuals in this country. The narrative that they have tried to force feed this nation post-2020 is that we are a systemically racist country to our core. We started to say the word racist more. We started to redesign our corporations. We started to teach things in our classrooms that were from the 1619 Project. And all of this has now been met with an appropriate backlash where people said, we're actually not nearly as racist as you say we are. In fact, we're the least racist country ever to exist in the history of the world. And in fact, if you want to actually talk about race-focused activity, why is it that you then ignore all the race-focused activity of black on white crime? Will, I want to live in a race-neutral country. I don't like talking about race all the time, but when I see it and I see the left ignore it and we try to make them live up to their own standard.
Okay, so let's stop right there. Look, I'm not gonna sit here and condone black people attacking people that are not of our race. That literally doesn't make any sense. Again, this is a platform of accountability, and I support that accountability. But at the same time, it's not something that's equivocal to the systemic oppression that has befelled us as a community, as a culture. It's just it's not something that can be compared. If we were to keep score about whom has been harmed who, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? Apply the score. Look at the scorecard. Whom has harmed whom the most in this nation? And not only that, I know some people are gonna say, "Oh, well, that's not us. That was our ancestors. That has nothing to do with me. The sins of the father narrative." And I was no, check this out. None of that stuff was paid back. Nothing like there was been no restorative justice. People didn't go to jail. Like our communities were burnt down, and after they were rebuilt, railroads or fucking highways was built on top of them, displacing those communities. So it's like, I get it. It's bad that there's a lot of violence. There's a lot of intraracial violence and stuff like that. It's very unfortunate. But again, keep the score, and then you'll see that you'll kind of realize that this is not a talking point that you want to die on. You know what I'm saying? But with that aside, as far as like the stuff, like what he's mentioning towards affirmative action and DI, like again, these are just matters. This is the country recognizing that there's a harm impacted. There's a harm done to Black Americans, and it impacted us like to a very, very deep degree. And even Charlie Kirk himself understands that he actually does acknowledge that there is some level of systemic oppression. He just believes that there is the element of like fatherhood or absent fatherhood is more of a prevalent issue in the Black community. That's just his perspective. But he still acknowledged that there is there's a systemic oppression.
A lot of it though is this woke stuff that would like take.
Say it again. What you say? I know, bro. I know. You could have texted me, nigga. All right, see you later.
Take your breath away. I mean, research into transgender mice. I mean, it was just the U.S. taxpayer dollars funding that.
See, I called that. I'll just kind of spare y'all this one. He was referring to transgender mice, but it wasn't transgender mice. It was like a completely different. Like it was just the wrong word altogether. And what it really meant was these people weren't performing experiments on transgender mice. They were actually performing a sort of surgery that was like looking into cancer research. It was more of a cancer research that actually saved lives than some sort of a transgender mice nonsense. I'll even let him explain it to you.
They were studying mice for health reasons, serious cancer-solving reasons, nothing to do with transgender. So
I stand corrected on that.
Okay.
So yeah, so he even conceded, which is nice to see that he knows how to concede. That's actually a really big deal for there's a lot of people don't know how to concede for shit. So that's good that he knows that he can concede, but I just wish he conceded more on certain matters that disenfranchise Black Americans.
We should have an honest and clear reductionist view of gun violence, but we should not have a utopian one. You will never live in a society when you have an armed citizenry and you won't have a single gun death. That is nonsense. It's drivel. But I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. This
is a complete like fallacious statement. It's a very weird statement to make, man, to say that. So weird, man. No, you don't need gun deaths to protect gun rights, man. That I forgot the name of that fallacy. I'll probably put it up I'll probably post it when I edit this later on, but No, you can protect gun rights by voting, bro. You can do that. If people can all collectively agree that gun rights are important and gun rights are to be protected, just poll in, and I'm not poll in, but elect the right people that still believe in gun rights and gun ownership, and then put those people in the position of power, and then make sure and hold them to account. Make sure they do their job. It's like, come on, man. Like Charlie knows politics better than this, bro.
Prudent deal. It is rational.
She did miss a really important one. I'm gonna see if I can find it real quick. There was one really important fallacy that he had used. Was it 15 or 14? Oh, okay. I don't know. It's not popping up. Let me just find it real quick on my phone. I don't know why it's not popping up on YouTube. Let me see. Send it to, here it is. Copy. Let me just send it to myself real quick. Give me a second, y'all. I'm just trying to send this video to myself so I can show it to you. Let me just pull up on the side here. Oops. That's really funny.
So black people make up 13% of the.
That's how I got it wrong. It was 1350. Here it is.
So black.
Okay, here it is. I found it. Sorry about that, everybody. Thanks for sticking with me, though. I appreciate the patience. Okay. So
black people make up 13% of the American population.
Oh, 1350, my favorite.
Yes, exactly.
Mhm.
Why do they commit 55% of all the?
Super great.
So I'm gonna just kind of cut in real quick. Okay, make sure my stuff is correct. Okay, yeah. He says why. Let's play again. I'm sorry. Let's play it one time. I kind of missed it.
Why do they commit 55% of all the?
Okay, yeah. Why did they commit 55% of the murders? What he doesn't, I don't know, man. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna give Charlie a bone here. Okay, I'm gonna give him a bone here. I'm gonna go ahead and assume that he heard this argument from somebody else. He heard this from somebody that is not a smart person. He got this information from somebody that did no level of research, that doesn't know how to read statistics, that is and that flat out doesn't even care to understand those type of statistics. The problem is when you apply this sort of rhetoric, this sort of disinformation, this sort of fallacy onto a group of people, it emboldens everybody to believe that we are a bunch of effing animals. Okay? Please, if you're going to hold black men accountable to the actions that we participate in, and black women for that matter, obviously, I'm pretty sure that falls into it, you're going to have to, at the very least, get the numbers right, okay? Seriously, please get these damn numbers right so we can have, again, a more actual productive conversation. Let's start with the first half of this argument, all right? 13% of the United States, 13% of the United States population being black people is what he's referencing, committing to 55% of the murders, okay? First of all, if I recall correctly, only about 30%, I think 33% of black people have a felony at all. And I might be off about that one. Let me check real quick. Let me just check real quick. So we estimate that 3% of the total United States adult population has 15% of the of the total U.S. Adult population, and 15% of the African American adult male population has ever been to prison. People with felony convictions account for 8% of all adults and 33% of the African American adult male population. So yeah. And that's just felony accounts, not necessarily gun violence or murders. Okay, so there's a lot of other things that kind of that is going into that. So for him to say, for him to put all that on murders is already a fallacious statement. Now, with that is said, if you're gonna be putting if you're gonna say 13% of the population is responsible for all these, like, first of all, again, not all. Why are you putting every black person into this pool, into this accountability framing? Like, how do I even put this, bro? Like, it should be like common sense that not all black people are committing to these atrocities, committing to these degenerative acts. Like, what he needs to do in order to clean this up, you're gonna have to find out what percentage of the black population is actually have committed this crime. Well, first of all, you need to find out where does even get this stat from? Like, what year was this study implemented, say, for him to get this number? And then you have to chase those. You have to figure out. You have to first you have to completely get rid of this 13% number. You have to find out exactly what percentage amongst black Americans are actually responsible for those crimes, right? And then you also have to, and that's just like that half of the problem. The 50%, and sometimes he said 55%. It's so damn dumb, bro. Like, what he's doing is he's misrepresenting the statistic, like, grossly. You know what I mean? And again, I am under the assumption he got this from somebody that just, again, doesn't know anything about statistics, or complete and outright insane racist. That's the nicest thing I can say about this situation. But if this came from him, then I have to say otherwise. But I'm trying to be as nice as I possibly can about this. With that said, that 50% or 55% or whatever he said, that is not convictions. Okay? That's not convictions. Those are arrests. All right? So the one thing that you have to understand about the difference between convictions and arrests. I don't know if people don't. I mean, if anybody doesn't know the difference between a conviction and arrest, a conviction means you went to court, you had your court date, and you were found guilty of that crime. An arrest means you were arrested, and then what happened after that is like, you know, who the fuck knows? Like, we have to be real about what the fuck actually happened in this. Excuse me. We have to put all these numbers into the proper context. So one thing we understand about arrests is that they are oftentimes, I'm sorry, not oftentimes. One thing we have to understand about arrests is these people have a likelihood of going home because they weren't actually guilty of the crime. And one thing we also can say is multiple people are oftentimes arrested for the same one action. They're just trying to figure out whom amongst these people actually committed the crime. You feel me? And obviously, a lot of these people will kind of go home. So yes, these numbers will be heavily inflated. But once you kind of attribute that to the number that's actually they actually committed the crime, then again that should heavily influence this number. So I don't know what to say. Like, so again, I'm all for accountability. Like, that's something that every nationality people need to be able to take a look in the mirror and hold themselves to account so they can be a better individual for their community, so on and so forth. But just saying, like, we aren't the only ones that need to be we're not the only ones that should be doing this. I think I'm just saying it's not just us that need to be holding to ourselves to account, okay? And I'm going to let every individual nationality group do that for themselves. But if you don't do that, then you're going to continue. And if you continue to shift blame onto other people, example being having a white man commit to a hit and succeed, and then if HBCUs to be targeted after that, again, that's shifting accountability. You know what I'm saying? There's things that you have to be able to look and embrace and realize that this person, no matter what his political affiliation is this person is representative of my group. Okay? When y'all do this shit about holding black people accountable for some sort of action, some sort of violent act, there's very little distinctions made to protect other black people that look like this person. There's very little distinctions are made. But the first thing you hear the first thing you hear being argued once we found out Tyler was not a black person was his political affiliation. You know what I mean? And it's like, and now there's a war between like Democrats and Republicans, and where the Republicans are calling to violent actions, and whereas the Democratic Party is in large. I mean, I think there might be some lesser known Democrats that are saying some crazy things about Charlie Kirk. I'll grant that, but the major players, Joe Biden made an actual statement, a verbal statement. Barack Obama, Bernie Sanders, Gavin Newsom, AOC, like they all made positive statements towards Charlie Kirk's passing. Okay, let's get real about it. With all that aside, just seriously, let's all understand that accountability is an important thing, and this nation won't heal without all of us taking proper accountability of our actions. However, it's just going to be a problematic. We are not going to get there if we're going to be falsely accusing each other over. I don't know. What I mean to say is, we're not going to get there if we're going to be misrepresenting data and then putting and holding people to account over actions that they themselves didn't even do. You know, especially when you kind of blow it up into an entire group of people, such as individuals that attend HBCUs. Anyway, that's like the last thing I kind of want to say about this stuff, bro. For the most part, again, violence is not the answer, cuz violence is not the answer. I don't agree with a lot of things that Charlie Kirk said. There's some things I did appreciate Charlie Kirk for saying. I just so happen to believe that we should be celebrating the holy day on the Sabbath. The Sabbath is the seventh day of the week. It is following God's commandments. I'm actually completely with that. I commend Charlie Kirk for saying what he said about the holidays. You know, I believe he said some lines of he didn't celebrate it like when he was younger. But a lot of Christians won't even be bold enough to shit on Christmas at all, because that's like, well, I'm not getting too far into that, but there's some things that Charlie Kirk said I actually do agree with, right? But for him to criticize Black Americans and try to give a prescription to our problems without fully immersing himself into the systemic problems that actually befell us, then it's like one of those things that he might as well just kind of stay out of. Like, don't talk about Black issues if you don't want to if you don't want to take a holistic view at us as a community and what has befelled us in this nation as a community. There was a lot of money that we made in this. There was a lot of money that we lost out on because of racist individuals burning our towns down, burying, what was that happening in Lake Lanier? Just drowned a whole community of people. You know what I'm saying? It goes on. The Red Summer of 1919, like these race riots that happened. There was yes, there was a lot of lives that was lost. Absolutely. That has to be stated. I could not state that enough times. However, with those towns being burnt down, was a lot of wealth being generated, and that was burnt along with it. You know what I'm trying to say? And then even here in Chicago, even they built highways over flourishing Black communities. You know what I'm saying? Reconstruction, or an urban renewal. They took they what was that called? I can remember this. Eminent domain. They applied eminent domain to take people's property and then create public housing, and did not compensate those individuals that lost their homes due to urban renewal. There was a lot of wealth that was stripped from the hands of Black Americans. I mean, hell, the Freedmen's Bureau, the bank and the Freedmen's Bank, Black people used that bank and trusted that bank. It was awarded to them by the government by Abraham Lincoln, a Republican, right? But what happened to that bank? The people that owned that bank started making corny, crazy ass bets, and those people and those freedmen that invested their money into those banks lost their money. So again, this whole thing is about empathy, okay? Please, when you speak on Black people's affairs, please apply the empathy of understanding that we went through a shit ton of nonsense in this community, in this country, okay? We can't pick ourselves up by the bootstraps, and we're doing a pretty damn good job at it. However, for as long as y'all, and not y'all, but for as long as your ancestors voted for individuals that can essentially kept their foot on our necks, it's gonna just take that much longer for us to essentially get right. Okay, so in the meantime, what you can do is, I know there's somebody in the chat that's asking me, what do y'all do? This is what you do. You join us in fighting the oligarchy, okay? That's what you're supposed to do. For the rich people out there that are stripping their money away from the working class and from the poor class, you vote against their interests, and you also boycott those companies, and you also perform group economics in your own communities, build in your own communities, and be independent within your own communities to strip money away from these individuals that don't give a shit about us Americans. That's how you can help us, at least for right now. We'll talk about reparations soon enough. I'll catch you on the flip side. It's been hard thinking of the Chicago Black Delegation podcast. Okay. All right. That's my Charlie Kirk take. Oh, man, I'm getting tired. I'm going to go ahead and read these chats, and there's been a lot of them. I think I've been making people mad. Holy shit. Give me a second. Okay. I'm going to start at the bottom by saying the biggest downfall in the black community was the father out of the home. Okay, maybe I should read this from the top. So Addie Smash says, so what has he said that was racist? I didn't necessarily even say he was racist per se, but what will imply racism is a lack of empathy, a lack of understanding of an entire group of people, and implying that despite all of the oppression that was applied to this community by way of capping and limiting our access to wealth, you're omitting all of that information and so focusing solely on our inability to stay for the husbands to stay in the household, or for us to marry each other, or to completely commit ourselves to Christian values. It's entirely too disingenuous, and that's where the accusations of racism will apply. Some of the counter arguments is the Black Leadership Summit. Listen, don't get me started on that Black Leadership Summit nonsense. Don't get me started on that crap. That is a house Negro Sambo factory / cesspool. That place, him emboldening black people or empowering black people to to incentivize black people to vote against their common interests, their group interests, is not an act of anti-racism. It's just not. You're not undoing racism by indoctrinating a bunch of house Negroes that are broke for the most part. No, that's not a counter argument to anybody accusing Charlie Kirk of being a racist. Okay, it's just not. And then Addie says, I haven't heard anything yet. So it's his fault after being killed. The HBCU was his. Wait, what? So it's his fault after being killed. The HBCU was his fault. I don't know what that means, my dude. I'm gonna guess you're saying that. What? I don't even think I can guess what you said. It's his fault after being. The HBCU was his fault. Bro, I just don't know what you're trying to say. I'm not gonna lie to you. I can't even like make sense of it. We all knew he wasn't black, but we knew he was Democrat. There's no evidence he's a Democrat, bro. We know he has a left-leaning agenda, or he has left-leaning tendencies, but there are also other Republicans with left-leaning tendencies. There's plenty of LGBTQ plus individuals within the Republican Party. Excuse me. What violent actions has Republicans called for? Oh goodness. So the rhetoric. Okay. Well, let me see if I can find this. I'm gonna just show this one for now. If you're even still here. Well, he's not even here anymore. Addie Smash, if you're still here, put a 1 in the chat. So I'll play that video because you probably just left. By saying the biggest downfall in the black community was the father out the home. I guess you're saying. Okay, great. You're still here, Addie. So check out. Okay, I believe I believe this is, well, let's see if this was, I think it's this video, but hopefully this will be straight to the point.
Build a website you love with Wix. For your words.
Turning Point USA founder and conservative activist Charlie Kirk was shot at an event at Utah Valley University on September 10th. His organization's public relations manager, Aubrey Lage, spoke out about the incident in a statement to the Associated Press, writing, quote, "We are confirming that he was shot and we are praying for Charlie." The 31-year-old was about 20 minutes into his presentation at Utah Valley University when witnesses heard shots fired, a spokesperson for the school told NBC News. His security team then removed him from the premise and the courtyard was cleared according to the school. Kirk's condition was not immediately clear, but NBC News reports that the university confirmed a suspect is in custody. The FBI is also monitoring the shooting, with the Bureau's director, Kash Patel, writing on X, quote, "We are closely monitoring reports of the tragic shooting involving Charlie Kirk at Utah Valley University. Our thoughts are with Charlie, his loved ones, and everyone affected. Agents will be on the scene quickly, and the FBI stands in full support of the ongoing response and investigation." Moments after the shooting, multiple politicians spoke out, including President Donald Trump, who wrote on Truth Social, quote, "We must all pray for Charlie Kirk, who has been shot. A great guy from top to bottom. God bless him." Vice President J.D. Vance also sent his thoughts to Kirk, writing on X, quote, "Say a prayer," and also tweeted, quote, "The attack on Charlie Kirk is disgusting violence," and Trump. He spoke at the 2024 Republican National Convention days.
Okay, that's not it. My bad. So let's see, I think this could be it.
To my great fellow Americans, I am filled with grief and anger at the heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk on a college.
I'm trying to low-key go to sleep.
College campus in Utah. Charlie inspired millions, and tonight, all who knew him and loved him are united in shock and horror. Charlie was a patriot who devoted his life to the cause of open debate and the country that he loved so much, the United States of America. He fought for liberty, democracy, justice, and the American people. He's a martyr for truth and freedom, and there's never been anyone who was so respected by youth. Charlie was also a man of deep, deep faith, and we take comfort in the knowledge that he is now at peace with God in heaven. Our prayers are with his wife, Erica, the two young, beloved children, and his entire family who he loved more than anything in the world. We ask God to watch over them in this terrible hour of heartache and pain. This is a dark moment for America. Charlie Kirk traveled the nation, joyfully engaging with everyone interested in good faith debate. His mission was to bring young people into the political process, which he did better than anybody ever, to share his love of country and to spread the simple words of common sense. On campuses nationwide, he championed his ideas with courage, logic, humor, and grace. It's a long past time for all Americans and the media to confront the fact that violence and murder are the tragic consequence of demonizing those with whom you disagree day after day, year after year, in the most hateful and despicable way possible. For years, those on the radical left have compared wonderful Americans like Charlie to Nazis and the world's worst mass murderers and criminals.
Real quick, that comparison to Nazis actually came from who played that video, so I could just, it was a fanatic that played that clip. I'm gonna play it. If y'all really want to see it, I'll play it later. But like basically Fanatic found it. Actually, no, just watch Fanatic's clip. Go to Fanatic's YouTube channel. And then he watched his take on the Charlie Kirk situation. But in that video, he had pointed out that Charlie Kirk had a conversation with, or he was doing his public speaking thing. He's doing his debates, and then the German man actually approached to have a conversation with Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk realized the man was German, and then he had expressed a banned quote that was that was famously used by the Nazi Party. Okay, so that is where I believe, at least I mean, I know there can be multiple things. I'm not aware of if anything else per se. I don't know if he did a salute or anything like that, whatever. But that he used I gotta call it back. He used a quote that was I lost my train of thought. Yeah, he used a quote that again the Nazi Party used to I guess address one another. It was like it's essentially a part of one of their one of their slogans or whatever like that. The point I'm making is the German actually pulled back and was like, well, no, that's a little bit too extreme for me. But he also assured that he has, pride in his nationality. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that they kind of, look at. That's something that they will use to draw that comparison, just to bring some clarification to that. Not saying that he's a Nazi. I'm not accusing him of being a Nazi. That's where that argument comes from. If you can disprove that, by all means, go for it. But you can find that video in Fanatics. You can find that clip in Fanatics. A video on Charlie Kirk. I wonder if there's anything else I want to add that I can't really remember. But anyway, let's keep going.
This kind of rhetoric is directly responsible for the terrorism that we're seeing in our country today, and it must stop right now.
So he's saying that, okay, well, now listen, I'm not saying that, I'm not saying accusing Charlie Kirk of being a Nazi is a justifiable reason to hit, for violence. That's not me. I'm not saying that. Just putting that out there.
My administration will find each and every one of those who contributed to this atrocity and to other political violence, including the organizations that fund it and support it, as well as those who go after our judges, law enforcement officials, and everyone else who brings order to our country. From the attack on my life in Butler, Pennsylvania last year, which killed a husband and father, to the attacks on ICE agents, to the vicious murder of a healthcare executive in the streets of New York, to the shooting of House Majority Leader Steve Scalise and 3 others, radical left political violence has hurt too many innocent people and taken too many lives. Tonight, I ask all Americans to commit themselves to the American values for which Charlie Kirk lived and died, the values of free speech, citizenship, the rule of law, and the patriotic devotion and love of God. Charlie was the best of America, and the monster who attacked him was attacking our whole country. An assassin tried to silence him with a bullet, but he failed, because together we will ensure that his voice, his message, and his legacy will live on for countless generations to come. Today, because of this heinous act, Charlie's voice has become bigger and grander than ever before, and it's not even close. May God bless his memory. May God watch over his family.
Okay.
And
all right. Well, I'll admit I was wrong about him calling something. I thought I heard something once upon a time, but I'll admit I was wrong on that. What I will say is that's just a whole bunch of stuff there's a whole bunch of, what's that word? A lot of embellishing embellishments of statements, like a lot of just simple Donald Trump, like, what is that shit? It's like, it's not necessarily lying. It's just like, I think it's just like embellishing the truth for the most part. He's just kind of like going a little bit overboard on his statements and kind of like overblowing like somebody like Charlie Kirk. Like, Charlie Kirk was not perfect. He was not the best that this nation had to offer. He was a dude that a lot of people admired, and that is what it is. But I just kind of showed everybody that his logic did have some flaws in it. Again, that's not enough. That is not a reason to call for action. It's not a reason to call for violence. But let me just. I already know what to find though. I could have just did this a long time ago. If I can find it though, like this is you kind of caught me off guard with this. Let me see if I can find it. I know I could, like, 'cause I really could just pull up. I think what did I forget what Erica Kirk said. I think she was saying some wild shit. But hold on, give me a second. It was like a big ass. Somebody compiled like some big ass list on Twitter of like a bunch of Republicans or right wingers. Okay, it was fucking. Oh my god, it was like on Destiny's conversation on with XQC. Oh, y'all really gonna make me find this shit. Like, look, I'm gonna have to like go ahead and find it later. So you can, hey, you know what, Addy, I'll give you this little dub for right now, bro. But I'll have to go ahead and find. I know where to find it, but it's 11 o'clock, and I'm not finna step all night looking for this stuff. But I know where to find it. It's just that it's a long ass Destiny. It's a long ass. I'll show it to you if you want to see it for yourself. If I recall correctly, it's in this video. Destiny XQC. And then there was, and yeah, this is it right here.
When too much work bogs you down, Asana helps you handle it. AI makes it easy to hand off routine tasks and stay focused on important work. That's how work gets handled. Visit us at asana.com.
And you're reinforcing the thought that this is okay to do. And exactly. Cool it. Please don't. I break. I do over the I'm going to claim self-defense.
This is gonna be a while, bro. It's like a whole hour long. But it's in here, bro. It's the heated Charlie Kirk aftermath debate with XQC. In here, he's gonna post something. Hold on, was that it? He's gonna post something that, like I said, somebody compiled like a big ass list of.
You're such a fucking loser. Holy shit.
My bad. He's not gonna find it real quick. Hold on, I can probably just. Yeah. Okay, you know what? And then okay, I think I got it. I think I know how to find this shit. Because I also remember XQC, he left, and then Destiny played a video. Because like this whole thing, like this talking point, what I just told you actually comes from Destiny. Because he actually posted a bunch of, I think this is it. Okay. So if you can't read this, you're gonna have to pull it up yourself. But I'll read some of these out loud. Let me see. David Pacman. I think David Pacman's a Democrat. Yeah, these are the Democrats. So all these is just a bunch of Democrats, like, showing empathy towards this whole Charlie Kirk situation. And here are the libs of TikTok. Wait, what? Let me hold on a second. I need to be able to zoom. Okay, does he zoom in on this? Because I can't make this out. Shit. How do I x.com Rowan Reed's status? Oh my god, dude. Okay, I can do this. I made a compilation of major Democratic politicians and left-wing pundits unequivocally condemning the shooting. Well, let me see. We're gonna read these names real quick. I cannot make this out. Okay, so this is Matt Walsh.
This is retweeted from the Daily Wire account, which is the largest right-wing alternative media outlet in the United States. And it is a statement, part of a statement from Matt Walsh, who's one of the largest right-wing alternative media figures in the United States.
For hours, I've seen some in the media, some of the very same people who intentionally stoked murder
Over the past 24 hours, I've seen some in the media, some of the very same people who intentionally stoked murderous hatred against people like Charlie Kirk and Charlie Kirk specifically, now saying that we need to turn down the temperature and start having conversations. Well, Charlie tried to have conversations with you on the left, and you killed him for it.
Yeah, I'm back.
You're killing
Sorry, I
us
had to go defund some money.
in our churches. You tried to kill our president. You killed one of our greatest advocates in Charlie Kirk. You have been openly cheering
Well,
for
what is
and
he doing?
celebrating and encouraging.
We're
and
just
committing.
listening. We're listening to a statement that was made by the largest alternative media right-wing platform right now on the internet. Hold on, it's like 30 more seconds. One sec.
Political violence for years. Antifa,
Is it end
BLM.
wokeness?
What?
Is it end wokeness? Or is it libs of TikTok?
It's Matt
Which one is
Walsh
it?
from the Daily Wire.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Well-funded, highly orchestrated, widespread movements based in and fueled by violence. You made a hero out of Luigi Mangione. And you celebrate Charlie's death even now. It's too late to turn the temperature down. This is not a time to hold hands. It's a time for justice. It is a time for good to fight back against evil. It is time for the righteous to prevail for the sake of our country and for our families and our children and for Charlie.
What do you think he means when he says that? The time for talking is over.
What it means is I'm going to use this opportunity when the temperature is hot to get what I actually want in all this, and to fight back and get retaliation and revenge, and I'm a pussy, and I disagree with that. I disagree. That's what all I hear is this bullshit.
You're disagreeing with that's the largest right-wing alternative media outlet.
Well, I don't give a fuck what he says. I don't give a fuck what anybody on the right or the left says.
That's fine. But I'm saying
everybody's deliberately stupid. Everybody's deliberately.
Everybody. Oh, find me a left-wing account doing this. Oh, that is like a reputable figure on the left, like a large left-wing media account, like a media person, not just like random Twitter people. Yeah.
So the reason why I said earlier, you're wearing these utopian glasses or whatever, and you're always having these labels for others, but not you. It's this: give me a big account, left, state representative, official, massive, huge, and famous. But you, right? When you make an argument, it's libs of TikTok and wokeness, dumb fuck, Christopher Ruffalo, some random Twitter cuck. How come?
Hold on.
Why
First
are
of
the
all,
standards so high?
first of all,
for the left, but for the right, it's whatever. We'll use whatever we
First
find
of all,
on Twitter.
number one. First of all, number one. Okay, I didn't make this compilation. I was more leaning on the first image than the second image. But number two, even at that second image you have, that guy in the.
Okay. Let me see here. We got some new names right here. Let me see. Sean Davis. Yeah. So there you go. The Democrat Party must be classified as a domestic terror organization and their members, leaders treated accordingly. Enough is enough. Okay, you should know if you know anything about being labeled as a terrorist organization means, then this Gunther Engelman says they declared war. This other person, Charlie Kirk, being assassinated, is the American something fire. It's hard to read this stuff. It is time for a complete crackdown on the left. Every Democratic politician must be arrested and the party banned under RICO. Every libtard commentator must be shut down. Stoge, I can't even read that word. It's some sort of a terrorism, and they've caused this. Charlie Kirk has been shot. Enough is enough. Democrats need to be labeled as a terrorist organization. The Democratic Party is a terrorist organization. It's like this terrorist organization labeling, basically. Fanatics will not hesitate to murder their political opponents. This is not a one-off event. Well, Brian Eastwood says Charlie Kirk getting shot is heard around the country. Get ready for civil war. I want to fight They want to fight. You're going to get it. That guy's the actual maniac.
Top right there, Elon Musk is the owner of the platform and the richest man in the world, and was in the fucking White House. I noticed you didn't read his name. That bottom right person, Laura Loomer, people don't know if it's lip injections or the fact that she's had her mouth on Trump's cock for so long that makes those lips so fucking big, but this bitch is in the White House every other fucking month giving guidance to the President of the United States, and she's currently on a doxing spree right now on Twitter for people that she is accusing of supporting violence. I can give you more. We just listened to Matt Walsh from the Daily Wire. I can read you out tweets from fucking Stephen Miller, who is the fucking deputy chief of staff in the White House office, who's literally fucking Hitler 2.0. Our hearts are shattered. America's lost one of its greatest champions. All of us now must dedicate ourselves to defeating the evil that stole Charlie from this world. What do you think he means by that? There's a much longer tweet from his figure if you want. I've got a tweet from Nancy Mace, not a tweet, a video of her, who's a sitting congressperson. If you want, we can listen to what she says. I can play you that one next if you want. You can soy the fuck out over the fact that this guy included some of the largest Twitter accounts that are constantly interacted with by large right-wing figures. But we can find lawmakers and yeah, go ahead. Repeat the same retarded shit you just said in the face of everything I just told you. Go ahead, say it again. Pretend that I just gave you random Twitter accounts when I just rattled off 5 massive. Oh, okay, go ahead.
I agreed that everybody that's doing this shit.
Not everybody. Oh, there it is. Everybody. True.
Okay. I forgot with you.
Can you admit there were some Jews? There were some Jews in the Holocaust that probably deserved it, right? I'll admit that.
Well, I'm not gonna play this whole thing, bro. Again, just check it out for yourself, man. But XQC is basically gonna be very distinct in whom he's gonna accuse of being problematic. That's pretty much what that is. Again, check it out. Heated Charlie Kirk aftermath debate with XQC. Also check out that Fanatic conversation. I can show you that one as well, since I have a lot more respect for Fanatic. In my humble opinion, Fanatic. I have a lot more admiration and respect for Fanatic as a content creator. Yeah, here's the video right here. It's only 10 minutes. 10 minutes and 20-something seconds. Yeah, so check that video out. I'm out here, bro. Thanks for stopping in. Thanks for having a conversation with me. And I hope you be blessed and stay safe, cuz.